My name is Elena Shvab and I'm a head designer based in London. Welcome to my studio. Today is, I think, quite insightful tutorial and video about hat blocks for Fedora hats. So many of you been asking me to share the details about my hat blocks, the measurements of the hat blocks, the shape of the hat blocks, and instead of replying each of you individually, I decided to record this video. This is already second video as part of hat blocks in general. So the first video was about fascinator hat blocks that I've been using for tutorials on my YouTube membership. And obviously I didn't share the sizes, I just shared the techniques. So the previous video was about fascinator hat blocks. And this video will be answering all of your questions, or some of the questions, I hope, most of the questions about Fedora hat blocks, sizes, and what to pay attention to when you order your hat block. Before we begin, I would like to say that this is not part of paid promotion, or I'm not getting paid for this video in any way. This is my genuine advice based on my personal experience, experience of my students who come to my studio to make hats and learn the art of millinery. And because you've been really asking a lot of questions about my hat blocks, so this video is for you. And I would like to say hello to everyone who's joining. Hello, Marianne, how are you? So lovely to see you. I hope this video is going to be useful and insightful and inspirational. So let's start with the hat blocks that I have that I'm going to talk about today. It's just these two and this amazing brim that I have that I use for most of my, not most, but quite a lot of my hats, and a lot of my students are using this hat block. And I'm also going to be talking a little bit about these amazing tools that I think a must have for those who are mostly focusing on making Fedora hats, felt Fedora hats, which is quite important because with straw, I'm not sure you might use this. I never tried. Worth an experiment. That's for sure one of the most useful tools, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute. So before we start, let's maybe focus on this particular Fedora hat block. Let me just put this aside. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Today, this tutorial about Fedora hat blocks, the sizes of the hat blocks, and any question that you might have about hat blocks, because it's one of the most, I think, important parts. Hat block is a very important tool in millinery and hat making. You can't really make a hat without having a hat block. Well, shape a particular shape. I mean, there are different ways of making hats not using a hat blocks, but you still need some type of support. So this is a classic Fedora hat block. There's so many different shapes lately that have this Fedora shape. I would say this is classic, but there are many different variations, and you choose any style that works specifically for you. But besides the shape itself, what's the most important thing to pay attention to is the size, the circumference of the crown, meaning the hat size, and also the height of the hat block, because sometimes you would prefer a taller crown, sometimes you would prefer a shorter crown. So when you know what particular shape are you're aiming for, you order that particular hat block. But sometimes you might not know, or not very often you sure whether you're going to go for a taller or shorter crown. So for that, you might use an extension. This extension is 2 centimeters or slightly less than an inch, which helps to block a taller crown if I decide so. Some of my customers prefer taller hat blocks, and some of the customers prefer shorter. It's just personal choice and very much depends on what the customer prefers. So it's very convenient when you, instead of ordering two different hat blocks with a taller and shorter crown, you can have the extension, which you put together with the screws that come together with the hat block, so that the crown itself and the extension are attached properly together, and both parts do not move during the blocking process. So this is quite useful detail to have when you order your hat blocks. This is also might work together with other shapes if you order from the same supplier. If you decide to have crowns that are taller or shorter. So this extension works for both of my hat blocks. They also the same size. So both of them are 57 centimeter circumference. So this is one thing, the extension for the crown. Also, let's make sure that this is actually 57. So how do you measure? You just place your measuring tape around the hat block, same as you would measure your hat size. And this is 22.5 inches, or as I said, 57 centimeters. And obviously the extension is the same circumference as the crown. And what about the height? The height is 4 inches from bottom till the top of the crown is 4 inches on the sides, but the sides are slightly taller than the front, and the front is about 3.2 inches, which is, it's much easier for me in centimeters, which is 8 centimeters. So this part from bottom up to here is 8 centimeters, and the side is 10 centimeters or 4 inches. Obviously, the top is the same as this part. So approximately, as I said, 9 centimeters. So this is the design of this particular hat block, which I love, but I don't really use it too often. I prefer a different type of blocking, and I'm going to show you this hat block. We're going to talk about it. And as I mentioned, let me just repeat myself. This one is 2 centimeter wide, 2 centimeter wide, or it's like almost an inch. I'm really terrible with inches, but yeah, that's the size. So that's Fedora crown. Obviously, there are many, many, many different styles, and you can choose any style that you like. The design does not matter. What really matters is the correct sizing of the hat block. And now let's talk about my favorite crown. This is standard dome-shaped crown, or it's also called open crown. This hat block, as I mentioned in many, many, many of my videos, is the best as the first hat block when you're starting hat making, when you're starting out in millinery. This is the first hat blocks that I would advise for you to purchase, because this is hat block that you can use for making fascinator hat bases, because it has perfect curve of the hat. It makes beautiful small bases. You can also use it as a support for creating hand-shaped hats, and I use these hat blocks a lot for making this type of hats. You can use it as classic crown for making those particular hats, like let me show you. Oh, sorry. So this is the hat that I'm working on right now. This is quite a slightly different shape of dome-shaped crown. It's more rounded. But again, you can use this hat block for just creating classic hats, classic brim hats. So this is the hat that I'm working on right now, and it looks absolutely beautiful. So using this hat block as it is, and that's one of my favorite parts of using this particular shape, is to create Fedora hats and hand-shaped crowns. So basically you create rounded felt hats, Fedora style, And with the manipulation of steam, you're recreating, you're restyling the crown in any design that you like. You're just manipulating this felt, and it looks so gorgeous and so beautiful, which I would say this hat block does it all. And so in the meantime, I'm going to read the messages so that I don't miss any of them. Hello, everyone who's joining. Erica, Null Vector, Marianne. Hello, everyone. The question is, what size is standard? Well, standard is usually considered 57 centimeter, 57 and a half, or 56 and a half, but standard is about 57 centimeters. That's why I have these hat blocks as 57 centimeters. So let's measure this one again. The circumference is 57 centimeters. And yes, it is 57 centimeters, or 57 centimeters is 22.5-inch circumference of the crown. And the height for this particular hat block, if you would like to make fedora hats with hand-shaped crowns, so there's a little trick. It has to be taller than standard, because you also need a space. You need to block the crown as it is, and then with steam, you need the space to press the material down. As you can see, it becomes lower. So that's why the height is higher than usual. So let's measure this particular hat block. The height of the hat block is 14.5 centimeters, which is almost 6-inch, 14.5. And yeah, basically the two sizes that you really need to worry about is the circumference, which is 57, and the height that I chose for this particular hat block is, I think it is it's 14, not 14.5, it's 14 centimeters and 5.5 inch. So if you order a hat block that you're going to be using as the crown as it is, then you should go for something lower. Usually I think it's 2 centimeters lower, so 14 minus 2, it's like 12 centimeters height would be reasonable. But if you would like to create fedora hats like these ones, that you have enough space to press the material down and create different shapes, then you would go for a higher crown for the hat block. Because you remember that this hat block was about 9 centimeters high, and together with the extension it was 10 centimeters, 11 centimeters high. So something to think about, what type of hats you would like to make, and what type of how tall the crowns you would like to be. So another thing that I would like to mention is obviously the brim. As having crown is wonderful, but you also need the brim. I went for standard classic rounded, well, slightly oval shaped brim, which I absolutely love. I use it for blocking fedora hats. This is one of my best sellers, boat hat, which is one of my favorite shapes to make. And this hat block is just perfect for this beautiful boat. The brim is quite big, which all of my customers love, and I also love that. A lot of students who come to my studio use this hat block and for making fedora hats mostly, and they absolutely adore this hat block. So yeah, just like that. And let's see what the circumference of this hat block is. And let's measure. It actually helps to just write down the number of the circumference right on the hat block, but I never do that. I don't know why. So it's 119 centimeter. 119 centimeter for the circumference of the hat block, which is 47 inch. And I find it just perfect. I wouldn't go for bigger hat block. This is just perfect. And if you want a hat with a shorter brim, you can always use rounded jack. This is a brim cutter, which helps to cut the brim, trim the brim to the size that you prefer. It has the measurements here. You just set up the measurements. The brim go right here in the middle between these two parts, and there's a sharp blade right in there, so you have to be careful. So the hat goes right, the brim goes right in between two layers, and then you just cut the brim, obviously making sure that you set up the right size of the hat block. I'm just getting started, and on all the tools that I need. I'm used to making fascinators for making my own patterns. Just trying to read. Okay, well, I hope this tutorial will be useful for you, so you can try ordering hat blocks if you decide, with correct measurements. And having correct hat blocks is really very useful. Also very much important what wood is the hat block made of, because if you order from hat block maker, they they make it from very soft wood, which is very easy to use and to put the pins in. If you find second-hand hat blocks, usually mostly they are made of the old hat blocks, like vintage hat blocks that are previously were made from very tough and strong wood, and it's really hard working with it. I mean, sometimes the shapes that I cannot resist, so I purchase old hat blocks, like vintage hat blocks, but then it comes at a price of it's really hard to press the pins into the wood, and obviously it complicates the work and the timing. But these hat blocks are really amazing, made of soft wood, that makes it easier for the hat block maker to carve the shape, and for us milliners to use the hat block to secure the material, because sometimes, especially blocking straw hats, you do need so many pins that it becomes a pain, literally. So another wonderful tool that I wanted to talk about is called foot tolliker. It's used for when the hat is already blocked, it dried, and just moments before you're taking the hat off the hat block. These areas are the most problematic and challenging because material moves while drying, and sometimes these areas they leave curvy. They become quite curvy, and ideally you would like to achieve very sharp angle, 90-degree angle between the crown and the brim. And that's where this tool becomes most useful, when you use it around hat block with the help of steam, obviously, and then you press the fabric down. And this foot tolliker really helps to press the material and block it at the same time, so that if there are any imperfections in this area, the foot tolliker really helps to create beautiful, neat angle, just to make the hat to look perfect. So I really would advise on these two tools. I mean, there are ways of working around without these tools. That's what I used to do previously. I found some alternative ways of how to manipulate the edge and how to trim the edge, but with these two, my life became much easier, and all my students really enjoying make hats with the tools. So mainly that's all the information that I wanted to share today. It's all about the hat blocks and the sizing of the crown, of the brim, and this brim as well. Another additional thing might worth sharing, that when you order from hat blocks from hat block maker, most of the time they would create a perfect way of attaching crown and a brim, because you do need the hat block, a crown and a brim attached while blocking so that both parts do not move. So for that, you receive screws that go through the hat block, the brim, and is also the little holes on the crown. So this is quite uncomfortable. So it just goes right in there, and then you put the screw in, and that's how the crown stays securely on the brim. It's quite important. It's like a small thing, but it's quite important, because when the hat blocks are not attached, they start moving. It obviously affects the quality of blocking. Of course, then some other ways that you might come up with by securing crown and the brim, but obviously it's so much easier when the hat blocks are securely attached and you don't have to worry about it. So those are all the advices that I wanted to share today, and all the measurements. I hope it was useful. And for those who are watching my video for the first time, please sign up for my channel. It really helps a lot and support the channel enormously. Just sign up so that you don't miss the next video, and press the bell button so that you get notification about next videos that are about to come out in the next few days or next week. And also, if you would love to learn millinery, please join my YouTube membership channel. There are different options. You can sign up as a member and get access to quite a few amazing video tutorials, very detailed millinery tutorials. It's usually very useful for those who starting out their millinery journey. There are a lot of useful information. Or you can join as Millinery Plus, which also have access to all my members only live video tutorials. The live sessions always stay on the YouTube channel, on the membership channel, so you can always go back and rewatch the videos and learn the techniques together with me. And all the links are in the description of the video. How to join the membership, also have left the links of Easy Hat Blocks, who created these amazing hat blocks for me, and that my students also love. And also the tools are made by Easy Hat Blocks. So the links are in the description. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And thank you so much for everyone who joined, and I hope to see you very soon. And don't forget to sign up for my YouTube channel so that I can see you next time. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.